In 1930, James Hargis and a mechanic drove a car from New York City to Los Angeles, rested for 2 days, and then drove back. Why was the 42-day trip unusual, and how were they able to prove their feat? I'll say that again. In 1930, James Hargis and a mechanic drove a car from New York City to Los Angeles, rested for 2 days, and then drove back. Why was the 42-day trip unusual, and how were they able to prove their feat?
Did they send a letter to themselves and then catch it on the other side and then drive back? It's still like 42 days. That's quite a lot, right?
But like, yeah, how fast were cars in the 1930s? I don't know. How long does it take now to drive across the US?
It's like a week, I think.
A week if you're doing it legally. There is the Cannonball Run, which is the
Is that
very,
just
very
speeding?
it's a very unofficial and illegal run from New York City to Los Angeles. The Cannonball record is something like 26 hours, something like that, maybe a little shorter. It's more than 100 miles an hour average all the way across the continent.
Oh my God.
What? Yes.
That's a speed run.
The record got set during lockdown, when there weren't many people on the road.
Yeah. So our mechanic's taking a bit longer. Is he like stopping in every state or something?
Well, maybe it might be like stopping at every state and picking up like the state's pin from every like gas station. And then he has all the collection and then he can show that he has the whole thing, right? It's like a Pokemon from the 30s, right? Gotta catch them all.
How many states were there in the 1930? Because there weren't 50
Minus
states.
Alaska and Hawaii, right?
Hawaii was 59 and Alaska was before then, so...
This was not the first transcontinental drive. That had been done a couple of times before. So it was possible but difficult. But that was not what was unusual about this.
The thought that popped into my head was like 1930s and like segregation. And like, is his name James? James the mechanic.
James Hargis and a mechanic.
Is he black? And then was it like difficult for him to like drive through some of the southern states? Like, were there difficulties there? Like, I don't know. That's where my brain is going.
I don't actually know. My suspicion would be if you were in the 1930s and doing that drive, that might actually be impossible for that reason.
It might take longer than 42 days then.
Yeah, James Hargis and Charles Creighton, the mechanic, I don't know, because I don't have a picture here, but it's not part of the answer.
Did it have anything to do with the fact that cars weren't as popular a mode of transport than rail? So it was... like the infrastructure was not quite built for cars as much as the U.S. Highway system, interstate, wasn't built.
There was actually a famous transcontinental trip that was the first to do it, that had to deal with all the infrastructure problems that were just across the entire continent. But not this time. That had been done.
Okay.
First transcontinental trip had been done. This was there and
Did
back.
he not drive on actual roads? Wait, how did he, and also like, how did he, like the proving it as well? Is there no like mileage meter on the car that goes, yeah, this car's like driven like all of these miles? Postcards, stamps.
You can
Like,
wonder
how
how
is
you
he
prove, because the telegram was there. I don't know if the telephone system was fully set up from coast to coast, at least at that
He
time.
live streamed his trip.
he was on Twitch. It was
There's just a massive antenna on the car, and they're just keeping Morse code going with all the names that they're in.
It wasn't just chatting, it was just driving.
They
Just
didn't
driving.
necessarily have difficulty proving that they went there and back. Postal Service could do that. They needed to prove something specific about this drive.
Was it a car?
Yes, it was a Ford Roadster.
Okay.
From the outside, looked normal.
Oh, from the outside looked normal. Was it bigger on the inside? Was it a TARDIS? Did they time travel?
A Fred Flintstone type car where you got a pedal or something?
Oh my God.
Did they have like a different kind of fuel for the whole thing? Like maybe not diesel or gasoline, maybe like electric or...
Yeah, of those guesses, like TARDIS, Fred Flintstone, or alternative fuel, weirdly, Evan is the closest, but not that close. There was
Okay.
definitely something weird about the car, and it was attention-grabbing.
Was it a bike surrounded by it? Was it actually a bike?
It was a Ford Roadster, just modified a little.
It was a car.
Was it the first automatic car?
Oh, no, but they didn't change gears much.
Okay, that's
Oh
interesting.
Wait, so did it have no brakes?
All gas, no brakes?
Was there no steering wheel?
Oh my God.
There was no something. You're very close there.
There's no handbrake. There was no accelerator pedal. There was no gear. There was
No
no
mirrors? No.
What was that last one, Hannah? You said no gear.
gear stick.
They wouldn't have needed it.
But did they drive in first gear the whole time?
Not first gear?
Wait, then backwards?
Yes, they did. Oliver, you're absolutely right. That was driven in reverse, New York to Los Angeles and back in 42 days.
No wonder it took 42 days.
In reverse. Oh my gosh.
So that's the first part of the question. How did they prove that they were actually doing it?
Witnesses.
Partly that. There were people who were looking at it on the way, because that's going to attract attention if you're going down the highway at speed in reverse.
Did they modify the car so it's like you couldn't do it the other way around?
Spot on.
Yeah.
The three forward gears were physically removed from the transmission. You could not run this car forwards. And they just left it running the entire time.
Did they drive it backwards on the way back as well?
Yes, they did. All the way out and all the way back, they drove in reverse.